Welcome. Tomasio here. Mary is the new evangelization.com, and I am just back from Washington, D.C. I got to see Pope Francis during the parade, and I was at the Mass at the Immaculate Conception Shrine at Catholic University. It was really, really powerful. So I am now in Steubenville outside of a restaurant, and we have here a young man named
My name's Isaac.
Isaac. And Isaac, where do you attend school?
I attend school here at Franciscan University. I'm a junior. I've been here. This is my third year, and I really like it so far. So it's been good. It's been a good opportunity.
Okay. So how long have you been Catholic?
I've been Catholic my entire life. I was raised Catholic. My parents were Catholic. I was part of a pretty moderately conservative family. So they taught us the church teachings when I was a kid, and I've been raised Catholic. I went to Catholic grade school up until 8th grade. I didn't go to Catholic high school, but I'm good at Catholic college now. So
Okay. Have you taken theology courses here at the university?
I have my main study is business marketing and management.
Okay.
But I have taken some core theology classes, a couple theology as principles of moral teachings, and also some philosophy, ethics, foundations of ethics, and the human person, studies of that, which has been new to me. But I haven't really studied much theology in depth like that before. But I do enjoy it, and it's nice to know and nice to learn.
Okay. So do you consider yourself an educated Catholic or not really?
I do. If someone were to come to me and ask me, a question about the Catholic faith or teachings, I feel like I'd be able to answer them. As far as non-Catholics go, and being curious about Catholic teachings, as far as like within the Catholic, like on this campus, I don't feel too educated on too much knowledge, because there are a lot of people here that are hardcore studying Catholicism and know a lot more about the history and about canon law and a lot of specifics like that I don't know, but I do know a lot of the basic church teachings.
Okay. So what's your impression of Pope Francis?
I like Pope Francis. I'm not 100% gung ho on his views. I do respect his views, though, as the Pope and the leader of our church. I think that I like to think that everything that he teaches and that he stands for is for the good of the Catholic Church and for the good of us. I'm not sure, being a business major, about how I feel about his stance on capitalism. I still have to look into that and really dig deep about where that comes from. I haven't really done that yet, but I do think a capitalist society is it helps us grow as humans, and I think it really services the good of the people as much as possible, because here in a capitalist society, businesses they act not only to gain profit, but also in order to do that they have to serve the needs of the people, and I think in that sense it allows for maximum growth in a community. And I think maybe the Pope thinks that capitalism is in a way selfish, because people, they grow a business and they earn money for themselves, and it's very, you might think of Americans as materialistic because of that. But I think if you look at it, in a different way, it really helps us. But other than that, I do like Pope Francis, and I've been keeping up a little bit about what he's been teaching and about what he's brought forth to Congress as he's visited. I do like that he's brought forth and brought up the point of religious freedom. I think that's a big thing that is important. especially in our society today, because as when Congress passed the gay marriage law, there has been a lot of trouble with religious freedom as far as Catholics go, and a lot of people being arrested for trying to retain their religious freedom, and uh, for example, people that won't allow gays to they won't show a marriage license if they're Catholic, and if a gay couple wants to be married, and there's just been conflict between what society thinks is right and what Catholic thinks is right, and because that's involved in a law now, that it's mandatory under the law, it almost doesn't allow us Catholics to practice our religious freedom, and I think that's
How does gay marriage not allow you to practice your religious freedom?
I think it's not as applied to me as it is to, I think, business owners and people who are more involved. I practice religious freedom, and I think I'm a little bit separated because I go to a university with a bunch of Catholics, and I think I wouldn't be I'm not as exposed right now to the real world. And in the real world, those who are Catholic, they're exposed to others that aren't. And for an example, I heard a story where there's a Catholic small business owner that owned a cake shop, and he makes cakes for married couples on weddings, and a gay couple came and asked if they could have cake made for them, and he respectfully declined since that goes against his moral beliefs on what is right. And they sued him and they won, and I think that's very scary. And I think that there is a lot more, now that the law is involved, that Catholics are in danger of sticking to what they believe is right, and I think it is a good thing that the Pope brought that up.
Okay. What if you were deciding to get married and you went to someone to have them make a cake for your wedding, and they happened to be anti-Catholic, okay? And they said, we're not going to make you the cake because we believe the Catholic Church is serving the devil and the Antichrist and the whore of Babylon, and you're going to have to go somewhere else. How would you feel about that?
I wouldn't feel good about it. I would feel discriminated against, and honestly, I can understand how gays might feel discriminated against, but it's a hard line because I think the gay community need to understand and respect religious beliefs, and if I was doing something that was against, let's say this guy was of another religion that I didn't know much about, and it was a legitimate religion, and they didn't believe in the way I was getting married. Let's say they didn't believe in, I don't know. If something I was doing went against their core beliefs, I wouldn't have as much of a problem with it. Because I respect people's beliefs, but I don't think that is the same thing as discrimination, and I think that's a big problem that the gay community thinks they're being discriminated against, but really we don't want to discriminate against them. We just want them to understand that we want to stick with our core values, and that by us sticking by our core values, we can't we can't support them in what they're doing, and it's nothing against them as a person, and it's just we don't hate gays. We're called to love, we're called to serve, and we're willing to do that in every way, but we do need to stick with our core beliefs, and if the law isn't allowing that, I think that's a problem.
Okay. Would you say that gay people are welcome on campus?
I think so, and
Okay.
I am a good friend with a gay person, and like I said, we're called to love, we're called to accept, and it is possible for a gay person for someone to have um, uh, to be attracted to the same sex, for them to live out a chaste life in the same way that heterosexual live out a chaste life, and as long as they follow the church teachings, and they don't interact in the sexual act with another male, I I think that's completely fine, and we have no reason to not accept them. Even if they were sinning in that way, we still accept them, because we are sinners in the same, and we acknowledge that even us that are not homosexual. So
Yeah. Are there a number of gay students?
um, I know of a couple, but to be honest with you, I don't think people that are gay are comfortable coming out or revealing the fact in a campus that is so Catholic. Because even though I tell you that we are called to love and support, that isn't something that is known throughout. It's very easy to become oppressive of the gays, and that's something that even Catholics can do wrong. And I'm not saying all the Catholics are perfect either, because some of them don't treat gays in the right way, and that's a lot of the reason how the gay community has you know seen us as being discriminatory. It's because sometimes Catholics don't handle it the right way.
Yeah. Well, getting back to Pope Francis, he spoke to Congress today.
Right.
Okay, and he mentioned a Catholic theologian that he recommended people would check him out. And did you happen to hear that at all?
I didn't. I actually didn't hear his message to Congress today.
Okay. He mentioned Thomas Merton.
Okay.
Have you heard of Thomas Merton?
No, I haven't.
And then he mentioned a Catholic woman who is like an activist for the homeless, and I believe she passed on, but her name is Dorothy Day.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of her?
I haven't. Is she? Are these? Who are these? These theologians?
Thomas Merton is a theologian. He also passed away. He lived around the time of World War II, and he was very he was into like dialogue with other religions, especially Buddhism.
Mm-hmm.
And Pope put him out there today, which I thought was really interesting. And then Dorothy Day actually had an abortion, and she just came to the Lord and just lived her whole life helping people who were just down and out, homeless people, things of that nature. He also brought up Abraham Lincoln as like a role model. You've heard of Abraham Lincoln, I'm sure, and Martin Luther King Jr. So, well, what's your so you have some disagreements with Pope Francis, but you support him.
I do.
Okay, and what would you say like the overall mood on campus is regard to Pope Francis?
I think overall there's a positive, outbringing for Francis, and I think that a lot of people support him. There's only a little bit of skepticism, that especially in the business school about his views on capitalism. But Pope Francis is loved throughout, not only in the Catholic community, but a lot of people seem to love Pope Francis. I was just reading about Fidel Castro, in the news, that he really likes Pope Francis, and that he might even start going to church again, and that he's really had an effect on Cuba and his visit this weekend. So he's a really lovable guy, and everyone's, I think, very open to what he has to say. So I think the overall view is positive.
Very positive. Well, that's great. That's awesome. So, if you had the chance to sit down with Pope Francis and ask him any question that you could, just one question, you were only allowed one question, they picked you, What would you ask him?
Um, I would ask him what to do as a Catholic, um, in our society in this circumstance of our culture, because our culture is taking a really is really separating itself from the Catholic Church, as far as gay freedom, and a lot of society has turned away from the Catholic Church, and I would ask him how, as a devout Catholic, as a businessman, how to deal with my surrounding society and how to love. So I think all in all, even in a society that doesn't agree, the importance is to love others and to make sure that others know that being a Catholic means to love, and not to judge. But that is also important to keep your core values, and what you believe.
Did you read the encyclical the Pope wrote on the environment called Laudato Si?
No, I didn't.
Okay, have you heard of it at all?
I think so. Yes.
Okay, he's affirming that there is climate change
Right.
going on, and that at least some of it is human consumption and waste. And do you have any thoughts on that? Because I know a lot of people are in disagreement with Pope Francis on.
Yeah, I think that Pope Francis brings up a pretty good point when it comes to climate change, because when he came to the U.S. Yesterday or a couple days ago, he had a couple points that he wanted to be in agreement with, as part of with the U.S. government and the Obama administration, and that is one of them. So he wants to make progress and change on a couple of things. Climate change is something he knows the Obama administration will agree with him on, and so does the easing of relations between the U.S. government and Cuba. That has been a slow thing that's been happening. Hopefully, lifting the embargo sometime soon. But yeah, it's a legitimate concern, and I think if the Obama administration and the Pope are on the same page, they can do something about it.
Okay. Well, it was a radical talk today. I recommend if you get a chance to go through the transcript, because he's basically calling for a pro-life world.
Right.
He came out against the death penalty, euthanasia, abortion. He was all for protecting the environment, and again, end of the arms trade.
Right.
So he's calling for a complete pro-life change, and I think he's feeling that if we don't embrace life and respect life, we could end up, you know what I mean, just the earth could revolt.
Oh,
Who
yeah.
knows, you know what I mean?
Definitely.
It could be a sad time,
Right.
or like the days of Noah, I guess you could
Yes.
say. He's like the new Noah.
Yes.
So,
I agree.
well, thank you very much. Appreciate it, man.
Of course.
Good luck this year with your
Thank
studies.
you for having me.
Oh, okay. All right. God bless. Check it out. MaryIsTheNewEvangelization.com. Tomasio saying goodbye.